Hey there everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cippy 7. Cippy 7 is everyone's favorite internet show about lists of things. One day, I'll have a theme song that plays right there. Today is clearly not that day. Today on Cippy 7, we're gonna go over something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that would be Marvel Comics. Marvel's been doing a lot of really cool things lately. We just saw another Age of Ultron trailer. We also got our first look at Ant-Man. I want to talk a little bit about some of the heroes that we haven't seen enter the MCU yet. And so this list is for those unsung heroes, for those who deserve to be in the MCU but just haven't quite found their place yet. And so I present to you Cippy's top 7 Avengers who should make it into the MCU. Couple qualifiers for this list. Number 1, they had to have been part of the Avengers at one time. Next, I'm not going to talk about those who have already had movies announced. So Captain Marvel, Black Panther, sorry guys, but you're not on this list. So, without further ado, here's the list. Number 7. One aspect of the Marvel Universe that I believe has been missing from the MCU is the Skrull. The Skrull are a shape-shifting alien race that have on numerous occasions fought the Avengers. I think one of the best ways to bring the Skrull into the MCU could be with a character who got his powers directly from a Skrull invasion, and I think that he's one of the most popular characters from the comics, and I'm really surprised that he hasn't made it into the Avengers yet. That's right, I'm sure all of you know that I'm already referring to 3D Man. 3D Man, aka Charles Chandler, was an American fighter pilot, and then he got like shot down by the Skrulls or something, and he totally got like eradicated by radiation, just but his brother Hal was standing nearby, and his brother was wearing glasses. An imprint of his brother Charles was left on his glasses, and so when Hal concentrates really hard, he brings his brother back into the third dimension as 3D Man. So here's the reasons why I think 3D Man should be in the MCU. Number 1, bring in the Skrull. Number 2, brotherly love. And with all the movies coming out in 3D today anyway, there's a joke there. I don't know where it is, but it's in there somewhere. You know you want it. Number 6. And now it's time for the tragic tale of Dennis Dunphy. See, Dennis here just wanted to play college football. He was pretty good at it. I think he was captain of the team. I don't know. But none of the recruiters paid attention to him. And so, good old Dennis Dunphy turned to the Power Broker. Power Broker is essentially an evil organization that gives powers to regular people to make villains. I think that's kind of a cool concept to go into the MCU, but anyway, let's continue with me being ridiculous. So, Dennis Dunphy went to the Power Broker, and they gave him super strength, super speed, super durability. But with his newfound powers, turns out he was just a little bit too powerful to play with the other college kids. And so, instead, he became a professional wrestler. During Dennis Dunphy's time in the UCWF, he became known as Demolition Dunphy. And then he met Captain America, and he knew that he had a higher calling. Not just to throw guys to the mat and wear spandex, but to throw guys to the mat and wear spandex for justice. So the reason why I think Dennis Dunphy, aka Demolition Man, should become part of the MCU is because of his costume. That's right, ladies. That is all real. This guy is the Dan Hibiki of the Marvel Universe. But I really, really want to see this guy in this costume on the big screen. How sweet would that be? And Fox would have a conniption fit.
Cippy, I wish your list was serious.
Oh, it's about to get serious with number 5. I love the current lineup of Avengers in the MCU, but it's missing a certain... oh, what's the word I want to use? There's not a lot of not white people. I mean, let's face it, the current MCU lineup of Avengers has got as much diversity as an Abercrombie & Fitch ad. It's got as much diversity as this year's Oscar nominations. Ooh, I'm looking at you, Academy. It's got as much diversity as a Blizzard. I mean, sure, Tony Stark has his one black friend, and Captain America has his one black friend. Well, and I guess we've got Black Panther, but I mean, he's not coming in for like another 2 years. And I've heard he's being played by a white guy. So who am I suggesting that we throw into the MCU pot to spice it up a little bit? Amadeus Cho. Amadeus Cho is a young Korean-American boy who, according to you ask in the Marvel Universe, is either the 7th, 8th, or 10th smartest person in the world. That's still pretty dang good, if not just a little bit of ethnic profiling. I mean, he is the Asian. So that's basically his mutant ability. He doesn't need a calculator. He can solve equations like that. He's ridiculously smart. He's built a bunch of stuff. He's friends with a coyote, and he rides a Vespa. That's environmentally smart right there, my friends. But I think that he could add an element that's really missing from the MCU, and not just diversity, but also the funny Asian sidekick. It worked in Goonies, it worked in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it worked in the Green Hornet. Every successful franchise needs a funny little Asian sidekick. Am I right? Man, I sound really white when I say that. Amadeus Cho, number 5. Number 4! Number 4, I actually believe has a pretty good chance of becoming part of the MCU Avengers. Simon Williams. Who is Simon Williams, you may ask? Well, let me look it up on Wikipedia real quick. Simon Williams inherited his father's technology company at a very, very, very young age of 22. See what I did there? But he was pretty young and inexperienced, smart, but not exactly up to par on the whole business running thing. Stark was running him to the ground. So his older brother suggested that they work with a mafia family, because, you know, that's always been a good idea. He got caught, and it just some real bad stuff went down. And that caused Simon Williams to team up with Baron Zemo, one of Iron Man's nemesis? Anyway, the good Baron actually gave Simon Williams powers using his ionic ray and said, "Hey, why don't you infiltrate the Avengers for me, suckerfish?" And Simon was like, "Okay." And thus, Wonder Man was born! Da 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 da! Super speed, super strength! And he turns into this ionic energy form, which is pretty cool. I don't know if he'll make it in, if only because his name is just too close to Wonder Woman, who is part of the not Marvel universe. But I think power-wise, he's got a pretty good chance of becoming part of it. Plus, he's got that whole used to be a bad guy, but then turned out to be a good guy and really helpful dude. And actually dated Miss Marvel for a little bit. Plus, he was a stuntman. Seriously, he was a Hollywood stuntman. Simon Williams also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Not in real life, maybe. But as far as I'm aware, it's just in the comics. Number 3. Number 3 might be cheating because it's kind of a group of 4 people, but it's my list, so I do what I want, suck a fish. Number 3 would actually consist of the Defenders, namely Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Now, all 4 of these characters are actually getting their own series on Netflix, but I don't know if they're gonna make it into the cinematic universe, but I would absolutely love to see that, especially during the Infinity Wars. Just imagine Luke Cage on the big screen just busting heads, or Iron Fist being all wah! And then there's Jessica Jones, she's a girl, and then of course Daredevil, not Ben Affleck. So number 3, definitely the Defenders. Number 2. Alright, we're winding down the list here. Number 2 actually acts as the nanny to some of the Avengers, including Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. She started off as a member of the Great Lakes Avengers and has gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Doctor Doom, Beast, MODOK, Thanos. Yeah, this chick rocks the Casbah. Who am I talking about? Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl's amazing. I don't know how she hasn't made it into the MCU already. I mean, she's already part of the Lego video game where she throws exploding squirrels. That's PETA's favorite thing. Exploding animals for weapons. Of course, we can't forget Monkey Joe and Tippy Toe. Squirrel Girl is very, 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 very interesting. I think a Squirrel Girl movie would be so good. Hear that articulation? Why not put Squirrel Girl in the MCU, right? She's quirky, she's fun, she's got a good power, she's proven herself worthy on multiple occasions, and should be a great love interest for Bucky. Get it? Bucky, Squirrel Girl, Bucky T. Alright, before we get to number 1, it's time for Honorable Mention! Woo! This week's Honorable Mention goes to the Great Lakes Avengers. Yes, the GLA. You've seen the first season of Glee? And like in the first season, they're all like a lovable band of misfits and they all get together and you don't think they're going to succeed, and in the end they really don't succeed. That's pretty much the Great Lakes Avengers, led by Mr. Immortal. Mr. Immortal can't die. He gets beat up and he dies and then he comes back. And of course there's his love interest, Dinosaur, who, similar to Black Bolt, has like a sonar voice, but it doesn't affect the one that she loves. Doorman, with the ability to become a door. That's right, he stands next to the wall and people walk through him like a door. But if you ever lock your keys in your car, he's the guy to call right there. Big Bertha. She's exactly how she sounds. Just look at the picture there. You can pretty much guess what her power is. And of course, Flatman, who's a doctor of stuff. I think he studied fashion design in college, actually. He can stretch, not as far as Mr. Fantastic though. The GLA are great, don't get me wrong, they have great intentions, but Squirrel Girl left them because she felt like they were kind of holding her back. So, plus, because they don't have government funding, they couldn't exactly ride around in the same Quinjet that the Avengers use, so they have the Quinjetta. Alright, you've all been good. It's time for number one. I think a lot of you are actually going to be upset with my number one, because technically, this person I'm about to name already has their own sets of movies, but they are technically not in the MCU. My number one Avenger for who I want to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Peter Parker himself, Spider-Man. Why Spider-Man? Spider-Man has been so important to the development of the Avengers over the years. Plus, if we brought Spider-Man into the MCU, then we could get Venom right. And if we get Venom right, that means we could get Flash Thompson right. And if we get Flash Thompson right, we get Agent Venom. Spider-Man was very, very crucial to the Civil War storyline, in addition to the Secret Wars. He represents a part of the Avengers that we haven't seen yet. A small, unsure of himself college student who's really just trying to make it and help people. He's not successful. He doesn't have a whole lot of people rooting for him. I mean, Tony Stark, he's got pepper and he's got tons of money. Captain America, people love him. Peter Parker is vulnerable. He is weak. He is not like the other Avengers, but he can hold his own. I believe that Peter Parker would make an awesome addition to the MCU, and I wish Sony would pull their heads out of their butt and just hand him over so that we could do Civil War right. For real though. Alright, thank you so much for watching the list. Tell me, do you think that Squirrel Girl should have been my number one? Do you think Star Fox should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, let me know what you think my next list should be about. Don't forget to subscribe. There's the subscribe button, and then there's the last Cippy 7 I did. Now I'm gonna sing a song to you. What should I sing him? Far across the distance and spaces between us, I know we'll go on. Near, far, wherever you are. That's all I know. No, wait, and then it goes, my heart will go on and on. Have you subscribed yet? That was great!